Good evening. Racism is back, folks. Yes, the excellent Camilla Turner of the Sunday Telegraph reports that Britain's intelligence services have launched a summer internship programme from which white British students are banned from applying. MI5, MI6 and GCHQ, who are there to keep this country safe at home and abroad, appear to be unsafe for anyone that's got the wrong skin colour. In this case, the woke Taliban's most hated cohort, white people. This internship sounds like an amazing opportunity, I've got to say. It represents, and I quote, the first steps towards an exciting full-time career. So interns, absolutely, they're very welcome, but no whites, please. And by the way, they won't be on the sidelines. Oh no, they will have the opportunity to get unique access to operations, gain experience and contribute to real projects. However, this 10-week opportunity is only open to students from Black, Asian, mixed heritage or ethnic minority backgrounds. It does include another provision welcoming those from a socially or economically disadvantaged background. Well, that's great, isn't it? Fantastic. Except that it excludes poor white people. Well, that's fair enough, isn't it? They may come from grinding poverty and degradation, but they're still dripping in white privilege. Now, there are several things to unpick here. First of all, it is not terrifying, is it? Is it just absolutely the worst thing? The security services have a culture which looks to be moving away from merit and towards quotas. You have to think that Vladimir Putin is chuckling into his glass of Stolichnaya vodka this evening as he observes Britain's suicidal commitment to diversity at all costs. This follows a scandal at the Royal Air Force and the resignation of the RAF head of recruitment after it was revealed that the service had effectively paused recruitment of white men to hit diversity targets, which she considered unlawful. Now, if organisations take this approach correctly, they are not necessarily breaking the law, like MI5 and MI6 at this particular occasion. But that doesn't stop it being deeply wrong. I believe in diversity, a diversity of views, a diversity of talents, a diversity of backgrounds, a diversity of religions, of genders, of races. Absolutely bring it on. But this increasingly pathetic country seems to be indulged now in a race to the bottom, with a focus on skin colour rather than equal opportunity and the now blasphemous idea of the best person for the job. And here's the thing. If you want to play the race card, perhaps I could draw your attention to the dreadful outcomes of poor white men in our society, who, for example, perform worst at school and are the one group least likely to go to university. So by woke logic, maybe they should be prioritised. If we're going to have positive discrimination, let's do it for them. But it won't happen. Do you see the problem? Now, there may be groups that are underrepresented in various fields. Great efforts must be taken to encourage people of different backgrounds from taking opportunities and contributing to our society. But not by pitting one group of people who have immutable characteristics such as skin colour against another. When did the so-called progressive left, who are behind this divisive nonsense, give up pursuing the idea of opportunity for all? And talking of these security services and special agents, poor old James Bond wouldn't have made it through to the first round these days, would he? Because if he was real, England's greatest fictional spy wouldn't tick any boxes apart from being cunning, brave, resourceful, and the best in the world. Forget about Goldfinger. I'd like to give these woke, racist bureaucrats the middle finger. So there is the story, folks. You've got MI5, MI6, GCHQ, who have an internship programme 10 weeks long. No whites allowed, including poor whites living in poverty. Make it make sense. Your reaction, please, at gbnews.com/your say. But first, tonight's top pundits. We have farmer and ex-Tory MP Neil Parish, founder of the consumer finance website moneymagpie.com, Jasmine Birtles, and, last but not least, the former executive editor of the news of the world, the one and only Neil Wallace. Great to see all three of you. Jasmine, can I start with you? Is there any justification for having a non-whites policy for an internship programme at MI5?
I really don't see any. I mean, as you say, it's racist. And also, as you've pointed out, and I think of this as an employer, you're actually massively narrowing the pool of talent that you can choose from. I mean, as an employer, I want as big a pool as possible. I don't care if people are pink, black, blue, whatever. They can be anything. They could be any age.
Would you consider working with someone like Neil Parish, or does that cross a line?
Well, it crosses a bit of a line,
Yeah,
you know. So, yes.
Especially in my great age.
But isn't that the point, Neil, that we want a diversity of talent and you don't freeze out certain groups?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand it, really, because, I mean, naturally, if you excluded other races other than white people, then there would be all hell let loose. And so, I mean, what is it all about? I mean, we need a great security service, and we know we've got a pool of talent in all colours in this country, and this is madness. I mean, I don't know where. I suppose they start with their targets, and what happens, I suspect, is they don't recruit perhaps enough from the ethnic minorities, and so therefore all of a sudden they stop recruiting any white people. Well, you see, they've got to give it time, because I mean, it's right. You said it's right to get more people from ethnic backgrounds and minorities in, but only when they're there and when they're very able, and in the meantime don't exclude white recruits. It's crazy stuff.
Well, definitely. It's racism, isn't it?
Well,
it is racism.
It is, and also it will mean that we, not just here in Britain, but across Europe, we will be left behind. Because already in America, from friends of mine, I hear that woke is dead. I mean, it happened overnight after the elections. Gone, bang. You've still got a few little bits and pieces, but basically most people are saying enough with this, enough with the DEI, enough with woke. Finish. We, on the other hand, are still, trying to push things in, square pegs into round holes.
Well, that's right, and we'll be talking about the BBC and the FA at 10 o'clock. We've got an exclusive embargoed story for the Take at 10. Neil, this is the difference, isn't it, between equality of opportunity, which we all support, and equality of outcome, which is basically communism, isn't it?
Well, the major thing in this, really, is the only thing that really matters is talent. Now, I can absolutely accept there is a shortfall of diversity in some forms within a lot of our institutions. The problem is you go the other side of that, as this is doing, and all you do is you encourage a privileged class that is completely unrepresentative of the community as a whole. Why should you get a comfortable, interesting job just because you're black, you're tall, you're from Scotland, you can be... It's a madness. The only thing that matters, anybody who's ever run a business, anybody who's ever run a company will tell you the only thing that matters is talent.
Ability,
and, the idea that you don't even risk these two, and you go over there.
Yes.
It's just farcical.
We certainly couldn't risk you, could we? Whatever happens. But, I mean, you see, you made the point, too, about, the class issues as well, because what you actually need is probably a very middle-class number of recruits that have previously gone into the service. But you also actually need some very good, tough, working-class ones in there as well, because they've got a lot of nous. And so you need a mixture of everybody.
Well, definitely.
Now, if you just start sort of taking the colour of the skin, it becomes completely crazy.
This is the issue, isn't it, briefly, Jasmine, which is that I'm not interested in these identity politics and skin colour, because I love all British people and I want them all to have opportunities. I don't know when the left forgot that their focus should be poor people who are at the bottom of the economic ladder.
But the left is not represented by poor
immutable
people.
characteristics. So even a well-off BAME person is somehow more of a victim than a white person living in grinding poverty. So a quick word on the plight of poor white people in this country.
Well, as you
don't
know,
exist in the woke world.
Well, yeah, as you know, in education, for example, and you did point to this, but the bottom of the pile, you've got Roma and you've got travellers, and then you've got poor white boys, particularly. They are right at the bottom.
Apparently they still have white privilege, is that right?
Apparently so, yes, they are ignored, and they're continuously ignored. And this, I think, is, it's going to be something that in future years will go, oh, we should do something about this. What about the boys now? Right now,
Yeah.
we know that they're having problems.
All right, well, let me tell you that producers on the show today have actually reached out to GCHQ, MI5 and MI6. We have this statement. The summer intelligence internship is a lawful measure used by the intelligence agencies to encourage people from underrepresented groups to consider careers with our organisations. Participants in the internship do not receive an offer of permanent employment at the end of it. Anyone who has participated in the internship and who wishes to apply for a permanent position can do so. They will compete against all other candidates in external recruitment processes. OK, folks, your reaction to this. No whites on an MI5 course. Make it make sense. gbnews.com/you all say.